10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Very Black and White Eyes for this transfer and latest news show. Sit back, relax and have a can of Diet Coke. Not sponsored or getting any money for it, I just want to show them what I'm capable of. Get in touch, Diet Coke. And the cough is still here. Even though, welcome to Very Black and White Eyes, latest transfer show and rumours. Please like, share and subscribe and support the channel. It's all free. Try from 99p or donate. Using the super chat button, Raffle tickets are also available for the draw on the 4th of August. You can read it yourself. Evening Stu, evening Leslie, Matt, great to see you. Gary's in the house as well. Dan's obviously on the show, waiting to come on. Evening Blade, great to see you. I hope you're not at work tonight. And evening Daniel, great to see you as well. Right, I've noticed a lot of people have been watching the show recently, which is absolutely fantastic, but not many people have used comment. So please hit the subscribe button and then you're able to comment. And if you're watching the show on catch up, drop us a comment. We always reply. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear what you've got to say about Newcastle United. So without ado, let's bring in the main man. How are we doing?
Oi, oi. How are you? Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Oh, he's got a night off.
What did I do? Oh, Blade's got the night off.
Blade's got the night off. Hey, Gaz has made it late as always.
There's Gaz.
Well, what is, I was actually on time and then the bin went, my Xbox remote ran out, so I've just literally run upstairs to sort that out.
All good.
Just got to plug it in.
Oh, it's battery pack, you pull it out.
Oh, one of them ones.
Yeah.
One of them ones.
Yeah. Yes.
Good to see you, Gary. Good to
You
see you
too. How are you?
We got Baz, we got Gaz, and I'm just Dan.
Baz, Gaz, and Dan. It's great, isn't it?
There you go. Baz, Gaz, and Dan.
Just 3 letters.
Wait,
That's all we need.
wait, wasn't that Supergrass? No. Weren't those the 3 guys in Supergrass?
I
I know the lead singer was Baz or
Was he?
Gaz. One of the two. So
What can I say? I can't sing
Yeah.
for shit.
Right, as evidenced by karaoke.
Oh, God. There's plenty of evidence out there of me trying to sing and it's not good. Right, let's get to some little news first. We won't start talking about transfers straight away because I'm very interested in this.
Yes, I saw that as well this morning.
Yeah, very sneaky that it was never really publicised or, it wasn't sort of, I don't know how to put it, to be honest with you, but season ticket holders hadn't got a clue this was happening until someone brought it up.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit sneaky. And this is not the first time they've been sneaky with things, is it? And what it basically means, if you miss 5 games or your ticket's only used for 5 games, is that it'll be cancelled and you won't be able to use it again, which I find, I mean, I know other clubs do this. I know Man United do it and they're a lot harsher on their rules. I've spoke to people who have had, the ticket schemes and things like that. I've seen them get cancelled with Man United fans. They do it with Man City fans as well. Obviously, the empty ad, they want to try and keep it full. But I don't think we have that much of a problem at Newcastle with this. And I don't know if it's the trying to stop the black market side of things. But I don't think we need this, to be honest.
It would seem to me. Well, here's the thing. I know a couple of people who have season tickets who are not Tyneside based. They live elsewhere, the onus is on them to make sure that their home game tickets are sorted,
Yeah.
either transferred correctly to another party versus via the app or whatever it is. But if you're going to have a season ticket and you got 18 games, is that right? 19
Yeah.
games to get to.
19 home games.
Right,
Yeah.
19 games. If you got 8, if you've got 5 that you just don't bother scanning in, well, this is their way of saying, well, then why do you have a season ticket?
Yeah.
Now that said, there's part of me that is kind of licking my lips at this because this gives other people the option of getting a ticket that would use it. I don't know. I agree what you're saying, Baz, that we don't need this kind of a stipulation in our season ticket regulation, but at the same time, the club is seeing it as look, we've got empty seats on a game day, and we know we can fill those seats if the season ticket holder bothered to make sure someone was in that seat.
Yeah, and they've got plenty of ways of doing it. They can
Yeah.
transfer it through a member. They can resell it on the club website, which means they get the money
Exactly.
back as well. So there's no reason for a seat to go unused because
Yep.
there are plenty of people who are willing to go to games.
Yeah.
So but that's why I just don't think we need the rule, unless the rule's being put in place because people aren't doing this and it's kind of forcing them to do it. I
Right.
guess. That's the only other thing I can think of.
Or are there folks out there who have a season ticket who on game day wake up in the morning and go, you know what, sod it, I'm not going to do it. I don't feel like going into town today. Okay, well then at least make that ticket available for somebody else. Either do you have a mate who wants to go to the game? Do you want to put it on put it on the resale site at the club's resale site and at least get your money for it? Not scalping it, not selling it at a loss, but just are you willing to make it available to somebody else who does want to go to the game today?
Yeah, get face value for it.
Hey there, Les. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, pal. Really appreciate that. If anyone else wants to donate, remember all the profits go to charity, but we've got things to pay for. And then once they're paid for, we look at what we can do. We normally try and get a special guest on and then give them the money to their charity. That's what we like to try and do. Yep. It's a bit of a sweetener, isn't it? Yep. Now, this, back in the day, I would agree with because of the Mike Ashley era, because I couldn't even give my ticket away.
Right.
It was impossible. Gaz, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, I think that sums it up, that the fact I hadn't seen this and I didn't have a clue what it was. So how the club expect the fans to know this is beyond me because they've said no about it. So
they expect us to all read terms and conditions.
It's in the user agreement. How many of us have read the Microsoft user agreement all the way to the bottom, or do you just scroll all the way to the bottom and agree so you can move on?
Yep.
It's like if you're gonna, I mean, surely you put a statement out or something like that. This is what we want to do, and I don't see a problem with it if you can just hand your ticket to a friend or family or whoever wants to go. But as you
made that difficult, didn't they? Because they've seen you can only now transfer it to members, so they made that a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, well,
they're getting their money either way.
As you know yourself, right? You could get up one morning, right, ready for the match, and your kid vomits all over the shop, and then you're sitting there going, "Oh, I can't go to the match now." I cannot send them to a relative, but you can't hand your ticket to a relative to get. I just think it's. I don't know. I get they want to keep people in the stadium and things like that, but I mean, there's a guy I know who goes to as many matches as he can, but he works away a lot. So what's he meant to do? Give his season ticket up because he can't. It's just, I don't know. It's just.
Was it easier or harder when there were paper tickets in the wallet that you could just hand the wallet to someone?
Oh, easier.
Exactly.
I like the booklet where you took the ticket out. You had the old-fashioned season ticket booklet. There's your ticket, and you can. You used to give it to anybody, and there was never an issue back in them days. But I don't know. They just want to go high tech these days with all these computers.
Well, the reason why, guys, is because they want to make sure that the person that tore the ticket out of the ticket book doesn't. You've given it to a mate who says he's going to go to the game. He then all of a sudden wakes up in the morning, the Baron's vomit and all of us. He gives it to somebody. Well, that somebody may not want to go to the game. They're just going to go out and stand in front of the stadium and try and get as much money for it as possible. So, or go and make copies of it, and try and sell off as many copies as we have seen done in the past. And then, of course, the club gets stuck because then all of a sudden they've got 50 people standing at a turnstile to come in on that one ticket, and that one ticket's already been scanned, and now you've got a PR nightmare in your hands. The high tech reasoning for it is one ticket, one seat, sorted. Again, it goes back to it's now that clause is putting the onus back on the ticket holder to deal with the ticket on a game by game basis.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I could easily, because of my life, not my choice, easily miss 5 games.
Sure.
Yeah.
100%. Something could crop up in my life that it happens all the time. Like when I've meant to go on this show and stuff like that, and I've had to cancel because something's cropped up last minute. And it's but I knew nothing about it until I saw that. So that's not the best from the club, to be honest. They should put it out a bit more.
There's a comment in the comment section from Black and White Eyes. No, further up.
Oh,
I think Leslie popped it in there. I want to focus in on that for a minute.
I didn't even know that was a rule.
I didn't either.
So that's
look at Gary's face. That's the first time he's seen it.
Yeah, I've got no idea. It's like, but a lot of what that club do at the minute, I don't really understand. When it comes to the boardroom side, they're very, like, when Staveley was here, everything was put out and statements, you name it. There was always something, you knew what was going on. Now I've got no idea.
I was about to say, this is exactly what we've talked about the last 2 episodes. There's no communication coming out of the club. We heard more from Penfield than we did from the club lately.
Well, I mean, I'll use the blue strip for example. I had no idea when that strip was coming out, and then they released a video saying it was coming out on this date, the next day and stuff. And I'm thinking, didn't even know it was coming out then. I didn't have a clue because there was no date to tell you when it was coming out. I mean, I know it doesn't really matter, but it's just little things like that. It's little things
make the difference as well, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like put a date on and like, right, by the way, here's a statement. We're going to do this for the 5 games a season, just to let you know. But it's like, who reads terms and conditions? You install a game on your Xbox, or you go on this and there's a term and condition. I never read it. I just accept it. Everybody does it. I mean, well, I'm saying everybody. I mean, you'll get some people who read through it word for word.
Yeah.
But Gary, this is the legal bit. This is the part that they sneak into the thing, knowing that nobody reads it, so that when you have a complaint about something specific, they can go back to it and say, "Well, you accepted it."
Yeah, exactly.
They sneak it in there simply because they know no one reads it, except for your legal dorks that just sit there and read everything with a fine-tooth comb, and that's how you get NUFC.com saying hey, look, did you guys notice this? Because they took the time.
I think it's fine as long as you could just give your ticket to a family or friend. I think it's like I don't know. It's like you're not putting names of people you could dish the ticket out to beforehand, like they do at school with your kid, where you've got certain people who pick your kid up at school. You put 4 names down, 5 names down. This is, I mean, I know you're talking with a lot of people here, but surely they can do that.
You can do that, but they have to be members. So they have to pay a £40 membership.
Right. So it's all about money, is it?
Of course it is.
That's what I said. They're getting their money either way. So
exactly.
So you could give it to Billy you've never met before because he's a member.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it now. Yep. Yeah. But you can't give it to somebody you've known for 20 years.
Because the whole idea of the membership is the members get priority over people who aren't members, basically. So if you're reselling your ticket, you're reselling it through the website, but only members can apply for them.
But at the same time, guys, that's how we get tickets.
I agree with
if we haven't paid out the eye for hospitality tickets, the only way we have the possibility of even getting a ticket, if we're in town, is being a member and another person selling it to a member. That's how I got my the ticket in the Gallagate for the Everton match, the last match of the season. That's how I got my ticket, because the ticket holder couldn't go to the match So he sold it to me because I was a member.
Yeah. No,
So
I agree
I
with that.
personally, as
Members
a foreigner, I don't have a problem with it because this is the only way that we're able to. And
Yeah.
then you get the wonks on YouTube who are like, how does a Yank get a ticket? Through the legal fucking means of getting a ticket.
Exactly. You paid your money. You've paid to be a member. So and it's the same as me. I pay a membership, and I only got 2 tickets last season. I had to beg, steal, and borrow to get other ones.
Yep.
I've saw a lot of people, like a lot members last year, saying they got absolutely nothing last season compared to the season before.
Some people got loads. That's what I don't understand is the balance, because you see people, oh yeah, I'm 7 from 9 now, and I'm sitting here going, well, I'm 1 from 9. So how are you 7 from 9 when there's other people who, and there's people 0 from 9. It's like, surely they should get a bit of priority because they paid their membership. But that's what a ballot is, isn't it? That's the thing.
Well, I've never even entered the ballot because the ballot comes out 2 weeks before the match. I don't have the wherewithal to get a plane ticket and hotel accommodations and all that sorted in 2 weeks.
And the other crap thing about the ballot is you can't transfer your ticket either.
Right.
So another member, you've got to use it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I would get an out, mate.
Right.
I would end up with Burnley at home, me, and that would be it. Because I'm
at home, and I got Bromley at home in the FA Cup. That was it.
Yeah. It's
all season.
As can you check your direction on your mic, mate? You sound like you're sitting behind the couch, hunkered down.
Boo.
There, much better. Gary was clear as a bell, but it sounded like you were underwater.
Yeah, I think it was too far away.
Much better. Much better.
Right. Yep. Anyway, enough about tickets. We don't get them anyway. But do we? Right.
Hey, have you? Well, before we move on from that, Baz, has there been any? There hasn't been any release date on when the hospitality tickets go on sale, have they? We always hear mid-July, so it's now 5 days into July. So we figure in the next 10 days.
They'll let you know. They'll let you know the day before.
Well, that's the thing that we have to keep our, make sure that we've got enough room on our credit card to buy the ones that we want to go to, especially if you're trying to get into the barracks, which are the cheapest ones.
The barracks are the cheapest ones, and they go on. Literally, people buy them before the season kicks off and buy for the whole season.
Exactly.
They just buy the barracks out. So yeah, they haven't said anything, to be honest with you. Normally, there's communication from the club about that. So I would say just keep an eye on it. People have had family members who have passed on there and kept their season ticket going in their name. The minute you're informed the box office, that's a good point. Which is, they don't want season ticket holders, they want members, they want ballots because it makes more money.
They want money is what they want.
Yeah, exactly. There's one more little funny thing that I saw today, which made me laugh a lot, was this. So Tino Asprilla, in Newcastle, there were a lot of beautiful women. I don't know where he was looking, to be fair. And I know many of them were into David Ginola, who was my teammate. Sometimes I'd trick them by saying, there's a party at my house and Ginola's going to be there. And they'll show up and they'll say, don't worry, Ginola's coming soon. And obviously they were too drunk to leave the house by then. So Tino Asprilla's pickup line was to use David Ginola. Which I think is absolutely brilliant.
It's Tino to his feet.
Exactly. To be fair, you would do it. I've seen mates do it, and hey, brilliant.
Put that back up though. Put that back up. You just deleted it.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Can we just say we've known it. We've known it for the better part of 30 years. But what a good-looking specimen was David Ginola, wasn't he?
Oh,
I mean, there's a reason why all the birds were after him. So
I love this. So apparently, Louise is saying Scalvini is signed for Man United. A warning. Well, God knows where he's going, but he's actually the first name on my list. So Fabrizio Romano, right, he come out and said today, one of the main names on Newcastle shortlist this summer, but he understands there's more clubs keen on him. So personally, I would say do not get excited by us signing this young man, because as soon as they come out and say there are other clubs keen on signing him, it basically means they're using the Newcastle name to try and
create a bidding war.
Yeah, create a bidding war, create more interest, and to get them sold at a bigger price.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it, the goal was offside.
Where's this Man United thing come from? I haven't heard that at all.
Oh God, she just literally decided to say it, and it could be anything, but I've not seen it. But that's the latest. This was about 5 hours ago that Romano came out with this.
Why the hell? Do you know what it is? I'm running out of, like, Chelsea baffle me. Why the hell would Man United want him?
I just think she's just trying to cause trouble. Trafford side for Chelsea. I mean,
it's one of those. All right.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. I'm not listening. We know.
Why the hell you would come on a show just to spout rubbish on a Saturday night beyond me? Like, I've got better things to do with me. Like, honestly, breaking. Yeah.
That's why we're sitting here on a Saturday night talking about transfers.
No. What I mean is like I'm sitting on a show talking about.
It's a joke, mate. It's a joke. It's a bad one.
Right, bloody coming in with comments on the freaking thing, honestly.
Oh man, some people. I'd actually said this because someone commented on one of my posts recently, which I thought was a good post, and it was something that could generally happen, which we'll talk about. See now, do you know what I mean? You're just giving the game away now. Well done, Louise.
You know what? I'm going to be brutally honest. I've never been on a Sunderland fans website in my life. Or a podcast.
No.
Not once. And I swear down on my family's life, I have never tuned into a Sunderland podcast. You know why? Because I wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
Not in a million years.
Ridiculous. But I put a post out saying, listing our top value players. And if we had to lose one, who would you lose? And then someone commented underneath saying that I'm a loader, I'm in clickbait for this and doing that. Get a life. And I just responded to them saying, scrolling through Twitter, trying to find something you don't agree with, and then having a go at that person. Get a life. You've got better things to do. And I personally think my tweet was actually quite good, which we're going to talk about later on, because it's something that could easily happen. But Scalvini, how do you pronounce his name? Guys, Scalvini. I honestly think it's a no-go, guys.
What, sorry, mate? I was just somebody was talking and say. You what, sorry?
Scalvini is a no-go.
I think it's a no-go, especially the way he's worded that post.
Yeah, it's a shame, mate, because he's very good football. From what I've seen of it, mate, anyways, when you're talking about a major threat in the box, he has somebody who has got a shot on him. Standing tackles, absolutely top class. They go on about his pace a bit, but from what I've seen of him, we haven't got the fastest defenders in the world anyway at the back, so centre back. So he doesn't look any slower than them. So,
and he's 21.
Yeah. Obviously, his injuries are a major.
He reminds me of Tino when it comes to injuries, and look at how well he's done for us.
Well,
I think sometimes but I'm not kidding. Look at injuries, and we literally rule a player out because we've seen how many days he's missed and what injuries had. But we're not doctors. We don't know what's happened to them and how he's recovered and stuff like that. I think people have got to stop looking at a bit of paper that's got some numbers on it and saying we shouldn't sign him because of that. Unless you've actually watched him for a full season, which none of us have, but a lot of people who have watched him in the team over there in Italy think he's one of the best defenders to come out of Italy at his age for a long time.
So do I. But I'm not going to lie, he's literally had every part of his body injured. He's had a shoulder injury that kept him out for 130 days.
And he's still amazing.
He's had a hamstring injury. But
he's fitting well.
He put this could be because of his age. It could be because he's tall anyway. He's about 6'5". It could be because he hasn't grown properly. It could be anything.
Right.
And I would say I wouldn't not sign a player based on an injury. But there's no doubt in my mind the club will have that in the back of their mind. If they're looking at him, they'll put him through a really strong medical check. Because it doesn't look good on. I've seen his injury list. He's had everything, and I mean everything, from his foot to his hamstring to his knee to his shoulder, you name it. He's had it. Yeah. But when I saw that from Romano the day, I thought it's just the same shite getting spouted out about us.
It screams his agent paying Morano to put his name out there. That's what it screams to me.
But once again, our name's getting put in our name's getting branded about because of our owners, and our owners have spent now for 2 years. I don't get it. I don't. Why didn't you put Man City's name out there? Or Arsenal's name or something like Chelsea. That. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get why your name gets branded about. I get it 2 years ago. I truly do. But right now, Newcastle do not spend much money. So I don't know why they keep using it, because I'm not falling for it. I personally think now, well, we're not interested in him. It's just purely them trying to get a sale for him. But the Italian media have got this thing where they've got to put Newcastle's name in it. And it's ever since Sandro Tonali.
Shall I tell you why? Yeah. Because we're, as a fan base online, we're stupid enough to click on it and comment on it, and it makes money.
Yeah, probably. But that'll dwindle out. That'll dwindle out. That'll dwindle out eventually, because I would have commented on it a couple of years ago. I would have commented on it a couple of years ago, but now I just didn't bother. I just moan about it in the group. I never like might put a little retweet on the group and stuff, but that's about it. But look, I'm not going to lie. I would love to see him here. I think he looks absolute quality.
Yeah, all depends on the price, doesn't it? Because there's another name we're going to talk about now, Dan, and that is Malick Thiaw. 25 million euro apparently is being offered to is it Cosmo?
Como.
I thought it was
where George Clooney's vacation home is.
Is it
Lake Como? Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
I'm not yeah.
No, I thought you were going to say Como or something like that.
Como were promoted a season and a half ago, 2 seasons ago to Serie A.
Right.
And they think of it. It's not the same, but think of it like Wrexham. There's a whole lot of, because the movie stars and such all go to Lake Como. George loans his house out to everybody. So there's a lot of public figures that are around in Como. So now, of course, there's it's the Italian Riviera. It's gorgeous down there. So I mean, why wouldn't anybody be interested there?
You just reminded me of that. You'll know the TV show. What's it called, man? Oh, it's just gone right on my head. The one where the guys do stupid pranks.
Come on.
The Americans, the Americans, they first started it where they do stupid shit on TV.
Jackass.
That's it.
Yeah.
And there's a place in America called My Anus.
Yes, there. Yeah.
George Clooney's in My Anus.
Oh, Jesus. I'm not touching that one. But Malick Thiaw, we were interested in last summer.
We were.
Supposedly.
25 million euros.
But we were being quoted something like 40 or 45 last summer. So.
And yet he's still not here.
Right.
Which is what I don't get, because apparently he's turned down Como about 4 or 5 times now.
Because Newcastle aren't convinced about him. That's why. I've looked into him. Ian rates him. Now Ian does know his football, there's no doubt about that. So I'm only basing this on what I've seen. He looks a good defender, but he's not Scalvini. He's not as Scalvini. He's not that good.
Well, there's a difference in the price tag there straight away, then, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, I'm always a bit. Look,
what's a good
Italian teams do get rid of their players. They do get rid of their players for a cheaper. I get that. But 25. Look, Newcastle do not hesitate for a player. If they get offered £25 million and they want the player, you'll be holding the shirt up right now.
Right.
No doubt in my mind. Como put the bid in a week and a half ago, and we still haven't matched it or inquired about it or anything like that. And that says enough to me that they're not sure.
But is it because we got burned last summer? Because we were after him for about a month last summer, and he turned us down.
Possibly. I mean, but then you've got to look at the one thing I've learned about Newcastle in the last 2 years is the amount of crap that the journalists put. Man United fans are jumping on this on a regular basis. Cunha turned you down and Buemo turned you down. We've only officially put one bid in this season, and that was João Pedro. We didn't officially put a bid in for Cunha or Buemo.
Right.
Not one did. Nobody said we did. Now,
Right.
I've heard time and again, they like Mbeumo, but there was never an inquiry and there was never a bid.
Well,
Same with Cunha.
I think our folks knew that Brentford were going to ask 65 mil. And they're like, we're not going to pay 65 mil for him.
No, 65 is a lot. And then he also wants 250 grand a week.
And then as soon as he made it clear, look, I want to go to a club that's challenging for Europe or challenging in Europe that are in a European place. And I want quadruple my current wages. That puts everybody off, except people stupid enough to pay it, like a Man United.
Well, Man United fans are going to jump on and go, he's not on 250 grand a week, he's on 180, and he might very well be. But the reports are that Newcastle got quoted 250 because Champions League clubs were getting quoted 250 for a week. That's why Man United have got him on the cheaper deal. But you're talking about, like, I know this is not the Man United show, but you're talking about a deal that they still haven't sorted out in 4.5 weeks. Anyway. But Malick Thiaw, if that bloke is not here by Wednesday next week, he is not coming because Newcastle could easily write that check for 20 million. Easy deal to do.
Well, it's not even 25 million, it's 25 million euros, so it's about 21.5 million or something like that. It's great. If he's good, it's a great deal.
He's a good player, but he's not better than what we've got. Fabian Shaw and Dan Burn are better than. Now, Scalvini's different. He could be the best defender at the club by a country mile. He might even be if we'd signed him. This lad is good, but he's not next level good. He's a signing Newcastle make on the first day of the takeover. That's a weird. Right. That's my personal opinion. But Ian said he's quality, so I could be talking out my backside here. But I just find it funny that £25 million and Juventus weren't interested, Milan weren't interested, Napoli weren't interested. Liverpool uninterested, Man United, blah blah, you name it. None of them are showing any interest now.
Yeah, but none of them have Eddie Howe in charge of the club. And that's my point. My point is, you look at the players that we had when Eddie Howe came in. Some of them were shite, and now they've turned into world beaters.
Well, if Eddie Howe makes a bid for him, then I'll back him because I trust Eddie Howe to buy anybody.
100%.
But there's still no bid for him yet, and I still find it funny how there's no bid for a £25 million.
But Gary, the thing is, for me, I don't know who's in charge of the checkbook right now. At least when Amanda and Merdad were there, we knew that they were pushing for it. We don't know what Paul Mitchell did for 12 months that he was here. He says we overpaid for Tino. He said we overpaid for Hall. You know, he didn't want the players that Eddie wanted. You know, I think we've lost a year. We've lost a season on the pace as far as the Premier League is concerned because we haven't kept up with the Joneses. We haven't kept up with anybody because we haven't spent any flipping money. And the reason why we haven't spent any money is I don't know who has the checkbook. Do you have to go all the way to the chairman?
It was the chairman has to sign off. Yeah, yeah, and that's why we've taken so long.
The chairman is hard to get in touch with because he's got bigger things to do, and
he's doing Live, he's doing F1, he's all over the place.
I think it changes when they get that new DUF in because I think this time it'll be literally we're not going to make this mistake again. Because if they make a mistake again with a third DUF and he's gone in a year's time, I mean, I'm sorry, the club's fallen a bit. I'm sorry, this is just so poor. Even the worst company in the world doesn't change managers 3 times in 2 years. It's stupid. So I think once he comes in, it'll be Pip's full-on choice this, whereas Mitchell was Yiles's. I think Pip decide this one. So I think it might get a bit better. I could be wrong, but
I'm all for that. If we could make it happen, you know, we keep hearing rumors about who the next DOF could be. We don't even. Again, it's a sealed box as far as commentary is concerned. We get nothing out of the club right now. They're going to announce somebody, and as you say, hopefully it's Piff's choice. This is who we've got. This is who we're going to have for the next decade, and then we'll start making leaps and bounds. That's my hope.
Yeah,
I mean, again, we knew nothing
long term. And simple as that. But I mean, you're right. It's signing players is painful because it's a forever process.
So Nicholson and Eddie's nephew aren't in charge of transfers. They're in charge of identifying players and putting them towards Eddie Howe. The actual people who sign off the money, Blade, which you know very well, is the owner. So yes, they might be in charge of putting names forward, but they don't negotiate the contracts and all that sort of stuff. It's a different side of it. And we know they're not in charge because as soon as Eddie Howe comes back off his holiday, things start to move. But Malick Thiaw apparently is going to be making his decision in the next, it'll be 6 days now since this was posted. So we'll see what he does. But I think if we need something, because we'll come on to the budget later on, but if we need someone on the cheap and we need someone who's got Champions League experience and has played in a top league, I think Malick Thiaw at like 21.5 million is
a
unbelievable. Is a snip.
Yep.
Well, I mean, Tomori got rumoured quoted about 24. I'd pay the extra 3 for Tomori.
Understood.
Is he up for sale?
I don't know. But from what I can gather, Milan did not get Europe at all, right? So they are literally selling players because the Italian league is struggling for money.
Well, isn't Thiaw in Milan?
Yeah.
So they're making players available. The fact that Tomori's not for sale should say something.
The sold Rangers to Man City. They're selling Theo Hernandez to Saudi Arabia. They're getting rid of players. Mind you, on the goalkeeper was linked to Chelsea 3-4 weeks ago, and he was on the verge of going. So Milan are getting rid of players because by the looks of it, they want to clean the whole squad out and start again. I think that's because it's been terrible for a couple of years now for them. They haven't been. When we played them in the Champions League, you could tell when we played them, it wasn't the AC Milan of old. It was.
And they knew what we were getting when they sold Tonali to us. So.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was when Milan started to drop because they were selling their main player, basically. Yeah, they might have known about the betting thing, but they were still selling them. And they didn't. Milan fans didn't want Tonali to go. It was probably one of the last things they wanted to do, but they had to do. And it's one of those. But I don't know. Look, Ian rates Joe. He thinks he's a very good player, and Ian does know football. He knows it in and out. I don't know a great deal about him. I can only base what I've saw of him, and I see a good player, but nothing better than what we've already got.
Yeah, right. There was other news. Apparently, Jonathan Bakayoko was interested. I mean, again, another cheap fee, 25 to 30 million euros, but the Elanga deal sounds like it's almost done and dusted. So I think Bakayoko just is a no-go. I think it's just a load of crap being put out there again.
Not good enough.
Yeah, there we go. Right, so Elanga for 55.
Okay.
Apparently, it's all about the add-ons and extras. That's what we're sort of backwards and
up
forward.
To 60. Yep.
Yeah. So our carrier pigeon is flying down to Nottingham, and he's flying back, and this is why it's taken so long because I mean, we've got the best carrier pigeon in the business, but I don't know why they don't send emails these days, or just get in a room and just flash it out,
or just get Asula. He's already there.
Yeah,
come on.
Asula was
just tell Asula, hey, Asula, here's the checkbook. You sort it.
That was
just stay away from the hair dye, mate.
Agent Asula.
Agent Asula.
Elanga's.
I love the meme.
Yeah.
Did you see the meme that came out and said he's been named director of football because he's done more in 2 weeks than Paul Mitchell did in 12 months?
It's all right, Louise. It was funny, to be fair. But anyway, Asula was fantastic. I think Elanga's agreed personal terms, because I think it's that close. I think it is just literally Newcastle and Forest trying to agree the terms of it. Elanga photo shoot tomorrow, unveiling in training Monday. Yeah, I have heard that, but I haven't heard it from anyone I know personally, so I don't want to jump the gun and say that is definitely happening. Let's hope it is. But the one thing that really worries me is Trafford's gone very quiet.
Yeah.
Is that because it's done?
Maybe. So is Eddie back?
Eddie's back, yeah. That's why things are moving.
That's why things have started. Eddie came back on Thursday. Thursday, Friday. And then all of a sudden, Elanga's bid went in and stuff like that. I've got my opinions on Trafford, but I speak to a lot of people. They'll tell you, local journalists will tell you the same thing. They think that deal's practically done. My worry is, and I've had this little niggle in the back of my head for about a week now, is Man City fans and Pep were not happy with Edison in the tournament.
No, you're right, they weren't.
No, they weren't. And Man City fans have really got stuck into him this week, basically saying they need to get rid of him. He's not good enough. Now, instantly, I'm thinking they've got a sell-on clause for Trafford. They'll get him for £10 million.
Yeah, but is Trafford a Man City goalkeeper, though? Would you put Trafford in the sticks next season if you're a Man City owner or Pep? Would you put him in goal straight away?
If anybody knows, it's Pep, because Pep will know him from his young days. So if Pep buys James Trafford on Monday, I'm not saying he is, but if he does, then he's buying him to be number one, because he doesn't want Newcastle to have him. But that's me just having an opinion on why the deal's taking so long. Personally, I think the deal is close, or even might be done. I just think Newcastle are so slow at announcing players. It's crazy. And they've done this in the past.
Maybe they want to do a big one. Maybe they want to do the big one, like during Party's French Revolution, where they had 4 guys all announced on the same day.
Yeah, we've done it before in the past. I remember Warren Barton. Was it Warren Barton, Lesford, and David Ginola all being revealed? Yeah.
I mean, look, I think Trafford's family member had a wedding a week and a half ago. Maybe he's gone on holiday. Maybe he's away. I mean, he was spotted at the airport apparently by local journalists. So, but maybe he comes back next week and signs a deal or something. But I find it funny how Burnley bought a goalkeeper, so they clearly expect him to leave. Because otherwise that makes no sense why Burnley are buying a goalkeeper, because surely they think Trafford's good enough to play Premier League football next season. So, look, I think this is just us being a bit nervous because Newcastle have been that bad in the window for 2 to 3 years, but I'd expect Trafford to be in next week.
So the comment that we got to catch up on comments. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on over in the comment section. Specifically, something England mentioned about watching the Geordie Hunter on YouTube. We'll have to check that one out later. But so there's Wayne. Yep.
Yeah, we still need a 10. We'll come to that a little bit later on, because I want to talk the budget and what we're buying and how the budget does not allow us to do what everyone wants us to do unless something else happens.
One of the comments, the comment I wanted to point at is gone. I think Luis deleted it.
I know, I deleted it because it's a load of crap. Trafford is a done deal, according to Dinny. I hope he is. I really do. I'm on Channel 5 watching the game.
Look at Dinny.
Being disallowed. Good. I work at the airport and I took a pic in JD with Newcastle top. Brilliant. Love it. Goal stands. David. Right. We're going to come to the budget soon, but apparently this was from a big account on X. I don't like to talk about other accounts, but they've also put Newcastle talks with Sean Longstaff are set very soon due to, obviously, he's in limbo at the moment. We've got this issue with homegrown talent, haven't we? You've got to have so many in the squad for Europe. Sean Longstaff obviously fits that bill, but we all know right now Sean Longstaff is not going to get the minutes that he will want because Miley's ahead of him. And we've seen that with how substitutions. We've seen that he's rather thrown on Miley than thrown on Longstaff. So you've got to sell him, haven't we, really? I mean, you want for his career as well. For him, he needs time on the pitch.
Look at our squad. Look at our squad, Baz. And this is something I've pointed out every Saturday morning when I get together with my folks. When you compare squads, when you compare starting 11s, how many in the English Premier League, you start looking at the likes of Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, go through those starting 11s and point out the Englishmen. Point out anybody who plays for the Four Nations
Yeah.
that are on an English Premier League squad. There have been mornings where I've been pained to find one Englishman in an Arsenal side, and I'm talking about the 18-man game day squad. So I say look at ours: Tino Livramento, Lewis Hall, Nick Pope, Sean Longstaff, Anthony Gordon, Callum Wilson. You see where I'm going? I mean, as far as homegrown talent is concerned, I don't think we're.
It's not homegrown as in homegrown in the UK. It's homegrown as in they're through our academy.
Does it have to be through our academy, or does it have to be any? Does it have to be any academy in England
our academy
up through the age of 24? That's what I'm saying.
Our academy for the UEFA rules. In the Champions League, you have to have so many players that played in our academy.
And I'm telling you, Arsenal doesn't have that. I'm telling you, Chelsea doesn't have that. They've got a whole bunch of youngsters in their academy. Oh, wait. Okay. So wait a minute. You could be of any nationality as long as you're being trained at their academy. That's the definition of a homegrown.
That's the definition as a homegrown player.
That's what I don't understand. Surely Newcastle have got youth players that they can just put in. They're never going to play anyway. So
yeah, there's names you can just throw on the bench.
Never have. Yeah, look, Sean Neave spent a lot of time on the bench last season. He never got in. So and that was during a time where we had not the best squad. Look, Sean Longstaff needs to leave this football club. One, because look, it's time. Two, for his own career. Three, this is what annoys me about Newcastle United Football Club. He's going for a free in a year if we do not get rid of him. So we need to get something from him. He needs to go.
Agreed.
Then the club need to act and get rid of him. Otherwise, give him a new contract. It's pointless, right? It's a waste of time.
If Everton wants him, if Burnley wants him, if Leeds wants him, sell him up. There you go.
Look, is he worth more than £10 million? Yes, in my opinion. But his contract finishes in a year's time. Getting £10 million for him is better than nothing. And this is the problem with this football club. They hold on to things too long. And they need to act. Look, I'm telling you now, if this is Chelsea, Man City, he's gone. He's gone 2 weeks ago. And it's Newcastle need to this is what they need to do. They need to let him go. And for his own career, he needs to go as well, or he's just going to sit most of his time on the bench and probably get a couple of Carabao Cup games and FA Cup games.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that as well. No, Denny, I do believe you, mate. I think it's class. Send a picture over if you want to, mate. We'll pop it up. But yeah, let's hope it is done. No point in talking about that. Right, the budget. This is the key thing for me. So I know the budget's never been out there. Yes, definitely cash in on them. But we believe, due to listening to the experts like Stefan on TalkSport and people like that who look into the ins and outs that's put on Public House, and you can see all the data, you can see all the money going in and out of the football club because you've got to make it public for certain things. We believe the budget is about 150 million this season for the summer. Or it could just be it could be for this financial year going forward. So that means we've got 150 million to spend in the summer in January, and we're going to spend it all in the summer. So that means there'll be no signings in January unless you sell someone. So you look at our squad now, these are the players that I highlighted that have major value. And if you sold one of them, it would make a massive difference. So Isak, Gordon, Barnes, Bruno, Tonali, J7, Botman, Tino, and Hall. There's 9 players that are in the starting 11 without a shadow of it. Well, one of them is fighting for one place, aren't they, Gordon and Barnes? So if we had to sell, if it's a big if, we had to sell to push that budget higher. And by the way, if you sell one player, it could afford you to buy 2 or 3 new players.
Correct.
This is why people say to me, it's like, why sell a player just to replace them? It's like, no, you sell one player and you can actually buy 2 or 3 players. That's how amortization works within the PSR framework. So who would you sell? Who would you feel comfortable letting go and then potentially not weaken the team as much as what it could do if you saw it? Because, I mean, no one's selling Isak. Let's face it.
No.
But which name on that list would you sell, Dan, first of all?
Gordon.
Oof. Wow.
I know.
Okay.
I know. No, and I realized I didn't even hesitate. I didn't even hesitate. Only because he's the most, for us, he's the most marketable one. He's the one that we could sell for 100 million. I truly believe that we could get between 80 and 100 for him, which would then allow us to turn around and buy 2-3 players for between 35 and 50 apiece. You know,
I think you get 80 for a max, to be honest with you.
Okay, but my feelings are you're not going to get an 80. You're not going to get 80 for a Harvey Barnes.
No.
So if I'm
40,
going
50.
to sell someone, it's going to be maximizing the money. After Gordon, controversial, but I'd sell Bruno.
Oof.
Between only because the two of them get us the most bang for the buck.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I'm just trying to think of
Joe Linton's a year older than Bruno.
Joe
Tonali's not going anywhere. Tonali's not going anywhere unless he wants to go. I'm reading.
No, there's no way we've got 350 million. Not even close. This is our first. This is our first year of PSR where Mike Ashley's not included.
Right.
Look, so there's no way we have that.
All local journalists, whether they're telling you the thing or not, they don't know for certain, but all local journalists have said that they have heard 100 to 125 million. That's what they have heard.
And Stefan is he goes on TalkSport, he knows his stuff. He said that Newcastle will be around about the 150 million mark.
I pointed this out today. Newcastle are targeting players, right? I'm leading into a comment by somebody who said we need a 10. We do need a 10, right? And that was Joe Pedro put the bid in, blah, blah, blah. Newcastle are not acting like a team that has only got 100 to 125 million pounds to spend with the players they are targeting. And they proved that by what they've done. So something has got to be happening at this club in the next 6 to 9 months. They're either selling somebody or they've got a major sponsor deal coming in. There's something, because the figures don't add up for what they want. Okay. Now, I don't think personally they need to sell anybody right now, because my worry is if we do not have a great season, somebody's away next summer, and PSR is not a problem, right? So I think they've got that in the back of their mind as well. Does Isak stay for me? Yep, he does 100%. If he doesn't sign a contract, he will be away next summer, and there's no PSR issues at all. Right. So, and I think the club personally sell Joe Linton before they sell Bruno Guimaraes.
You're most likely right.
But the question, it's a hypothetical question.
Yeah.
Who would you sell, Gaz? Not what the club would do.
Right now.
This is a hypothetical question out of Isak, Gordon, Barnes, Bruno, Tonali, J7, Botman, Tino, and Hall. Players that we would not sell, but these are the players that hold the value that could push PSR far away and allow us to be able to, start improving the squad by buying an extra 3, 4, 5 players.
Gaz, out of those 9 players, that's why I didn't hesitate. There's one player at the top of the list that makes the money, because you have an able-bodied replacement on the left for him right now.
I mean, I tend to agree with Dan. Not that I want to get rid of him. I did have somebody else in my head, but I don't know if we're getting enough for him to affect the PSR much. And it might sound controversial, but Sven Botman.
Yeah, so a few people said that. Not many, but they said because of obviously his knee injuries and the way that's been going, that he would be the one.
Defenders can be replaced for me. I mean, I know that sounds... look, if it's a John Terry or a Rio Ferdinand or something like that, I get that. You're talking about but I think defenders can be replaced. It's Isak's who cannot be replaced. You literally have to spend a fortune to replace an Isak, and they're not. But if you
sell Isak, you're selling them for 120 to 130 million. That gives you 500 million to spend.
Yeah, now that's great
to look at it, because then you can go out and buy probably the next best striker in the world, or third, because you're not getting Haaland, but there will be a strike. We could get Sesko.
Yeah, but we need a director of football to spend that money. Because
I know, but just forget about that side of things. It's just a very simple hypothetical question. Let's not go into that much depth, because that becomes a whole different conversation. But you're talking about how to push PSR and how to build our squad for this season, for this Champions League season.
It's got to be Gordon purely based on the money you could get. If I had to, I would possibly. Look, it'd be Botman for me, but I'm not sure what we'd get.
See, Botman before his injuries, probably easily 60 million, but maybe now with his injuries, maybe 40 million. I don't know if I'm undervaluing him there, but when you've been injured for as long as he has, you lose a lot of value, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, 50.
For me,
maybe get 50 odd from him.
For all the names on that list,
be pushing getting 40 for him, to be honest.
He's still quality, though, isn't he?
If you could get him fit, and what we haven't proven over the last 12 to 14 months is he's not fit.
Yeah.
When he's fit, he's a Rolls Royce.
Exactly. But that's the thing, though. When he's fit, and we don't know what's going to happen when he comes back and how good he's now going to be. We saw how good he was before his injuries.
Yep.
How good is he now? You'd hope he'd be the same, but you just don't know, do you? It's one of those ones. Now, for me, it would be Barnes. And the reason why it'd be Barnes, because I think we can get between 45 and 50 million for him. He's 27, so he's in the peak of his powers now. I would sell him while the going is good, because you've got Gordon behind him, who's only 23, 24. So that's the way I would do it. And that would then give you at least 2 new players. Now, the reason why I asked this question is because we're all saying the budget's around about 150 million. We need, at the bare minimum, going into this next season, we need this stupid cough, a backup striker, a right winger, a right centre-back, and a goalkeeper. Right? The right winger, 55 million. The goalkeeper is 35 million. So that's like 90 million spent on 2 players. That leaves you with 60 million to spend on a backup striker and a right centre-back. Is 60 million enough for 2 players at quality? Because we don't...
If we could have gotten Delap at 30 million, that would have spent half of that, and we would have had Delap. But Chelsea beat us to that one. The bright lights of London, attracted a player that we were supposedly in for.
Nope. Like I said, Newcastle aren't acting like a club that have only got 120 odd million to spend. I don't know what the situation is regarding free transfer, but why Newcastle United did not make a move for Jonathan David baffles me.
Is it not because he's going to want first team football and he's not going to get it?
Possibly. But you know what it is? Convince him that you convince
sell him the project. Yep.
Juventus have got Vlahovic. They've got countless strikers up there. And he's signed for 100k a week at Juventus in Serie A.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't even seen one legitimate link to Jonathan David, not one. And Angel Gomez is another one. Free transfer, just gone to Marseille. Newcastle United, no interest at all. If they'd made a move for these players, that's a club that, for me, is a little bit thinking about PSR. And Newcastle are showing no interest at all whatsoever in free transfers. Whereas a year ago they were, like Kelly. But you're right, something doesn't add up from what we're hearing. Whether they're going to sell a player next summer or whether they've got a major sponsor deal coming in or something, they are not acting like a club who has got £120 million to spend.
Right.
Not at all. Somebody did make a good point to me. Maybe Howe thinks some of the youngsters are ready to step up. They might be. We don't know. I think Leo Shaw, the guy at right back, they would not put a full video on him if they didn't think this kid was going to be something. So I think he's very close. Apparently, Howe is very happy with Alfie Harrison at the minute. and Sean Neve is very close as well. So maybe some of these youngsters are ready.
There's a good question right there. Not a single Premier League club had any interest in him.
You're talking about a guy who scores goals here. Go and have a look at these stats. This is not, and he's done it in the Bundesliga. It's a weird one for me. It's why Chelsea weren't interested either. Just it's bizarre. Maybe
you can't say it's because he's an arsehole, because Chelsea have signed arseholes.
Oh, they've got plenty of them. They've got plenty of them. And
quickly on Callum Wilson.
Maybe he didn't want to miss England. I don't know.
I've heard Coventry going back to his hometown.
That wouldn't surprise me. And good for him.
And this lad could be good. I'm not seeing him play, but I know he's been getting very high praise in the under-21s. The only thing I worry about our under-21s is that they're not playing in the top league of the under-21s.
Right.
So they're not getting the step up to Premier League from our under-21s is a big jump. And until we get into that next league up and they start competing against proper teams week in, week out, will we start to know whether these players are good or not? We've seen a few of them in the first team against Bromley, didn't we? Who was the young lad who played on the wing? I can't pronounce his name. Ndidi or whatever he was called.
Yes. No. What was it? No. It was Sanusi.
Sanusi.
Yep.
There we go. He played out on the left wing and he looked quick. His feet looked fast, but he didn't really do a lot. So I don't know.
Here's another one for you, Gary. Is Jonathan David's international manager is Jesse Marsh.
Right.
Jesse Marsh is the Canadian national team coach. Remember how he got chewed up and spit out by Leeds? You know, he very much could have put his arm around Jonathan David and said, "Look, the Premier League is going to chew you up and spit you out, mate. Go for Serie A. Go for La Liga. Stay away from England simply because it's going to be too rough and tumble for you, mate." I don't know.
Like somebody's just put in the comment there, I mean, about Angel Gomez being a bit lightweighted for the Premier League. In a way, I get that because he's not the biggest lad in the world, that's for certain. He looked okay when he played for England. He looked decent. The only reason I'm mentioning him is because all I hear from journalists and everybody is Newcastle have got to watch PSR. So that's watching PSR because he's better than what we've got.
Yeah.
And he's not better than Joe Linton or Tenolia Bruno, but he's better than the rest of them and stuff like that. And it's just, this is why I mention these players. If PSR was nowhere to be seen, I wouldn't be targeting these.
Yeah.
Not in a million years, would I? But I'm just going off of me hearing constant PSR from journalists.
Well, this is the problem with PSR. People don't understand PSR as well as they should. And I'm not having a go at you here.
It's confusing. I'm still trying to work it out.
5 years seems to be the standard rate. Elanga at 16 million, a 5-year contract will cost you 12 million. Correct. Per year over 5 years, the way it works. 120 million buys you 10 players over 5 years, not in one window. You've got to take away what it costs over 5, because you've got to think of the players that we've spent in the last 5 years as well, who are still being paid off. And that comes to a sum that has to be under the 105 million minimum loss. So when we say we've got 150 million to spend this summer, we mean 150 million final amount. So if we spend 60 million on Elanga, you take that off the 150 million for this window, which means you're left with 90 million. But yes, he will only cost us 12 million over 5 years per season. But then you've got to think about the players we bought the season before, the season before, the season before, and the season before. They're all still on that 5-year going rate. So I know it's confusing at times, but this whole, we've got 150 million to spend this summer so we can go out and buy 11 players on the amortization rule. No, because you're forgetting about all the other players we've already bought who are still on that, and that takes you close to the 105 million.
I mean, the Mackhams are literally taking a big gamble here. Because they will be able to spend because of what's happened and who they sold.
I agree with that as well.
Even if they stay up next season, PSL is going to hit them in a year. It's like it hits everybody. And they are going to seriously struggle to get players in for years unless they start selling. And this is, I mean, look, nobody hates PSR more than me. And the fact that they've been advised that due to inflation and everything changing in prices, it should be up to 155 million now, not 105.
Yeah.
And the booker still haven't put it up since 2012.
Yeah, well, this is a question I wanted to ask Stefan and forgot all about it.
Yep, that's what Villa tried to do last summer. They tried to get it moved up to 135, and they got outvoted by 14 other clubs. There were 6 clubs who were in on that going, yeah, we want that. The other 14 said, no, 105 is just fine.
It shouldn't be a vote. It should be, look, the rate of inflation, everything's going up. Players' wages are going up. The cost of players are going up. That means the barrier needs to go up as well with it. It's just one of those things that should just be automatically put into it. It's like our wages every year. We got to vote on how much the wages are going to go up by. They will go up. It just depends by what percentage we can get voted through. But it's not going to be zero. It's always got to be something.
Like, it's nonsense, man. It should have went up years ago.
Agreed.
It just doesn't make any sense. It's, I mean, somebody made a good point as well, is that one rule in the Premier League, Chelsea didn't get fined, but they get fined in Europe because they don't want them. They don't agree with us selling the women's team price, and the Premier League do. I mean, bloody hell. Shouldn't it all be one thing that can say, oh, this is the rule here?
Well, UEFA's rules are actually harsher than the Premier League rules.
Yeah, no, it's nonsense. You know what it is? It's getting to the stage now where teams are not going to want to get into Europe. It's ridiculous. Yep. It's ridiculous. And
I don't know.
Unless you get, I mean, the Champions League, Newcastle are going to benefit from the Champions League because I think you get about 2 to 3 million for winning a game, something stupid like that. But you will see the benefit. You just didn't see the benefit when you got into a Champions League season. It's bloody nonsense, man. But
yeah, exactly.
Look, I'm sure the rules will change one day, but I don't know. I'll probably be an old man by the time that happens.
Well, the thing is, we're being funny about, you know, Villa being charged, Chelsea being charged. There's a very good chance we're going to be charged.
Yeah, according to Stefan. Yeah. Now, but it's what we've spent now for 3 years. Like, literally nothing. And we're going to get something. Villa and Chelsea have spent.
Yeah.
It's just absolute.
It's all about the wages as well and stuff like that.
Do you know what it is? Nobody else telling me that UEFA aren't just doing this to get some money out of clubs. That's all they're doing.
No, of course they are.
It's so they can get some money, and just like this Club World Cup thing's just another money maker, and it's absolute nonsense. I mean, we're going into a Champions League season, and I mean, yeah, we're going to have. It's not going to be the Premier League PSR nonsense. It's going to be a fine, but surely they're not that.
Yeah. The thing is, if we sign in for 65 million, which I don't think he's worth, to be completely honest with you, he only had a good half of a season. That leaves you with not a lot of money to spend on a right centre back.
No,
we're getting Elanga anyway. We know it's almost done. So
right, we're getting Elanga. We're getting Trafford. Now we just need a right. Now we need a right centre back, and hopefully somebody who can be a backup striker.
No, Elanga's a very good player, and trust me, in a year's time, we will be going on about how good Elanga's been. He might even be in our thing for player this season. That's how confident I am with Elanga.
Agreed.
The only problem I've got with Anthony Elanga is he likes to put a cross in, right? And a lot of his assists were high crosses into the box on Chris Wood's head. We haven't got that.
No.
Right? Yeah, Isak can head a ball, but he's not Chris Wood. Right? That's not his strength. And that's my only worry about it. Now, it's not a worry on Elanga putting crosses in. Great. Jacob Murphy does it, but Jacob Murphy tends to put them on the ground a lot. So it's like, it's one of those, but trust is Elanga's a good player. I mean, you're trying to get somebody out and use both. He
was up there with assists last season, like literally.
11.
I think only Salah was in front of him, wasn't he, or something like that?
There's only 2 players that had better stats than Anthony Elanga last season. Combined stats. Mo Salah. And the other one,
and Jacob Murphy.
Jacob Murphy, yeah. And apparently Forrest were trying to get Jacob Murphy in the deal, but obviously we said not a chance.
Yeah.
right, the court judgment
You
thing.
could have the Greek goalkeeper back. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. God, would we love to be able to get rid of him?
Right.
This Man City thing, right? Stefan told me, he said, look, they're waiting for the case to be solved, but the case could take another 1, 2, 3 years. So if Newcastle are sitting on waiting for this case, it's stupid, because we should be making as much money as we can in the short term while we're waiting for this case to be finished.
Yep.
There's no end date on it. There really isn't. God knows when it's going to be decided. It could even then be, if Man City lose it, they could appeal it, and then you could be putting more time on it. So the fact that we're sitting back and waiting, it's probably not the best ploy right now at the moment.
Look, Newcastle, I think something's going to cut. Like a few of my family members said this about 10, 15 years ago. Something's going to come out major about football and corruption and all that, and it's going to hit soon. It came to my head today, Chelsea linked with the guy at Arsenal. I think Chelsea are preparing for a transfer ban. That's why they're buying all these players. That's what I personally think. It's weird what they're doing. How many, they seem to be stocking up on footballers for some bizarre reason. And I think they think they're going to get a transfer ban for about 2 years, and that's what they're doing. That's it.
Well, but then it begs the question: how can they continue to spend money if they're thinking that they're going to be a ban? There's going to be a ban. How can they possibly continue to spend money at the rate that they're spending?
Because they said, do you know what it is? It's ridiculous. I watched this picture, and people are going to tell you about how can Chelsea spend as much as they can. They have made £700 million from player sales. They're top of the list. That's why Chelsea can spend money. Forget about the hotels. They cheated. They cheated that way out with them, right?
Yep.
That's to get through PSO. But the reason they can buy player is because the amount of youth players and players they sell on is incredible.
Yep.
It's honestly, it's unbelievable.
Right. There's two things that have popped up, and I think they're really good, to be fair. And we're going to answer these, then we're going to have to finish because we are getting on a bit. Why did PIF fund the Club World Cup? And the name isn't even in the competition. They funded, I don't think they funded the actual competition, did they? I thought they bought or put massive stock into Dezan. I thought that's how they did it.
There's something about the sponsorship deal. People
with
of
Dezan, with Dezan, who was showing the Club World Cup. So I don't think they've actually sponsored it directly. I think they've sponsored the channel that's showing all the games. And what people forget, see, the one thing that really got me, and we talked about this on the previous show, was that Newcastle are funding Chelsea. No, they're not. They're funding every single club who are in that competition. And a lot of these clubs aren't even in our league.
Right.
It's just they're funding something that they think for PIF is a very good investment, because they think they're going to get money.
They're looking 5 years in the future. Yep.
Exactly. So yes, PIF own us, but just because PIF own us, it doesn't mean we're just that one tunnel vision for them. They've got so many different companies out there. It's unbelievable.
Well, how many clubs do they own? They own, I want to say 5 or 6.
And I'm not so sure how many clubs they own, but they've got about 4 or 5 in their own league, which they want to sell after they've got their league up and running, which is why they're still trying to buy the best players to track them to their league, to make their league more attractable. And they've obviously got the golf, they've got all this sort of stuff. So what people have got to remember is that PIF don't have a tunnel vision just on Newcastle. We're a very small cog in a big working clock when it comes to PIF.
PIF did, the chairman did say, he says, Newcastle was one of the smallest investments, but the impact it had on PIF was enormous. Because I think that was the beginning of them getting themselves into sport. Right? It was the beginning. And look, the problem was we're football fans, we're impatient, especially me. I'm one of the worst, right? But the Saudis they are not impatient at all. And they had a vision, and it's the 2030 vision. It's branded it around for a long time.
Yep.
Personally, I think by 2030, Newcastle will be up to scratch. They will be one of the best teams around in this country, right? They'll be regular Champions League by 2030. But PIF and the Saudis' main aim right now is the World Cup. There's no doubt about it. That's what they will have their main aim on. And if that means they've got to sponsor some certain things, then that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But the media are jumping on it. They are jumping on it big time, saying, they're funding their rivals and stuff like that. And it doesn't help because we're going to read papers and we're going to believe them. I believe nonsense sometimes. And I shouldn't, but I do. It's rubbish. A lot of the stuff you read is absolute rubbish. But it's clickbait. Newcastle fans are one of the best for clicking on an article.
Yeah, and this is why I say they'll keep putting it out there until we stop clicking on it and they stop making money off it.
Look at Bournemouth. You've hardly heard Bournemouth at all this summer, right? And they've sold 2 to 3 quality players. If this was Newcastle, it would be branded around that. Newcastle are selling players left, right, and centre. The Geordie dream's over. This, that, It's nothing like that for Bournemouth. Nothing. Because there's no clicks. No clicks at all.
Yeah.
And that's
they only have 11,000 season ticket holders.
Newcastle aren't a big club apparently though, but they're always in the media. Rory Jennings was talking about it the other day. Is the takeover starting to slow down? It's like Newcastle made news with everybody around, but they're not a big club.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Right. The last question, which I think is another good one, and because he has done so well in the under-21s, Eddie's already got a backup striker in Asula who looked hungrier than a sick note Wilson. Agree on half of it, but I'll ask you this question, John, and I'll ask it to you too. If Isak's missing for 5 games, are Newcastle going to win the majority of those games with Asula starting up front?
Right.
That's my worry.
Well, but to go back to what Gary said earlier was, who are you going to get in to be a backup to Isak, who will be happy with sitting on the bench for 75% of the season, or coming in the 70th minute for every match? You got to find a veteran player who knows that their stance their station in the game has diminished. So you got people in the comments right now that we're just that we've got a hard on for Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, not for me.
No, I agree. He is. If you want to define sick note, if you think Callum Wilson's DCL is worse. But at the same time, a fit Dominic Calvert-Lewin is worth goals. We said the same thing with Wilson. If he's fit, you're guaranteed goals. Problem is, we could never get him fit. And is he older than Calvert-Lewin? I want to say he's what?
No,
he's 33 this season.
Calvert-Lewin's 28.
Yeah, so he's 5 years younger. And he's 6 inches taller. The problem with getting a secondary striker, a backup to Isak, is being the backup to Isak. Is knowing that you're not going to get a whole lot of minutes unless Isak gets injured. And then it has to be the quality of the player that's going to fill in that Isak size hole.
I'm not sure they're going to buy you back.
Well,
I think
the João Pedro side of things, that's where we need to look at. Someone who can play as a 10, maybe play out on the left or right, but plays a 10 or can fill in as a striker. That's what we need, don't we?
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do. I think that's why they're targeting Pedro. Asula, everybody knows that I'm a big fan of Asula. I've been saying it for a while. And I have no problem with him coming on and affecting games next season. I think he's 10 times better use than what Callum Wilson is. Wilson's done for me. Been an absolute legend for it. Brilliant
for what
player.
He did. Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely got us through some rough times, but Asula comes on and affects the game more. Anyway, I think they're going to bring a 10 in. I think they're going to bring a 10 in who can play off the striker but can cover Isak.
Gordon
if needed.
Okay.
Gordon
can play as a striker as well, but he's not
now, we don't like it,
isn't he? No.
But Howe's done it a lot of times and he'll continue to do it. And there's one player we're forgetting about here, Sean Neve, who Eddie Howe is built up a lot. He's got a lot of bench time. I think we'll see a lot of him in the summer on pre-season.
Someone in the comments said apparently he's gone to Fleetwood Town on loan.
Well, look.
Was that a piss take? Was that a piss take? Okay.
Yes, mate.
I haven't got a problem with players going out on loan as long as they've got a plan to like for him to go on loan. You know what I mean? But it's like I think Eddie Howe is. Eddie Howe's like, you know what he's like? He doesn't rush players in, but Lewis Miley eventually got in. Sean Neve's getting on the bench.
Yep.
If you do not get on the bench, youth player gets on the bench, if Howe doesn't think you've got something. So Sean Neve could, I mean, from what I've heard of this kid, we could save a lot of money on a striker because of this lad. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that you think Delap's good, this kid will be better than Delap in 2 years' time. So it's one of those. We don't know youth players. How does we don't? We've got, I mean, is Cadero going to stay? Still hasn't gone on loan yet. Are they going to keep him? Possibly.
I would say we're going to see more of that come 1st of August. We've got when does camp start? The 15th of July?
16th, I think.
All right. So
isn't that
late? I mean, last year I think they were coming in on the 4th of July. 4th or 5th of July.
It's not just because the
this
season
time of
finished later or something like that, so they've had to give them a bit more time off.
I don't know.
Cliver is definitely a good shout, by the way, but I don't think Bournemouth have to sell now because they've already balanced their books, so I can't see us getting Cliver or going forward.
The amount of money that Bournemouth made. Yeah.
I think
cleaned up.
No, I think there was one player Newcastle wanted from Bournemouth. I think that's always been the case, but he went to Real Madrid.
Yep.
I think
for 50 million.
Yeah, I think that's who they wanted.
How much did Kirkes go to Liverpool for? 40?
I think it was about 40.
So there's almost 100. There's almost 100 for two players. What's the third player? Who's the third player that they sold?
There were 3. Nobody, but I think Saboni wants to go to PSG, but they're stalling on that. Semenyo's just signed a contract, so he's not going anywhere.
Right.
I'd be shocked if Bournemouth sell anybody else. They've already bought the replacement in for Kirkes. I cannot see that. I cannot see Clive going. He might go next summer, but I can't see it this summer. And look, there's another one. You've seen a fee of 40 million. If Newcastle desperately want him, they'll do 40 million out. They won't hesitate. It's when they get above 50, that's when it seems to take time for an outfield player anyway. So I think if they were interested in Clive, I'd be further down the line.
Has he not gone back to West Ham? Ferguson had a bright future in, didn't he? Brighton striker.
He's always been a Brighton player.
Right.
He went on loan.
He was on loan, but I thought there was an option to buy or an obligation to buy or something like that.
There
was another young man who was young, who was promising, and then got injured and couldn't come back from injury for whatever reason.
He's seriously dropped off him. I mean, you are talking about one of the best youngsters 3 years ago, sought after by most clubs in the Premier League.
He was like the Delap of 3 years ago. Yep.
Yeah, he was.
I saw comparisons to Harry Kane and everything 3 years ago, but he has dropped off big time. And he can't even get in the Brighton side at the minute. I mean,
that's why they loaned him out.
Brighton because Brighton are a decent side anyway, but he can't get in there. And he's just, don't know how many goals he got last season, but it mustn't have been much. And
I don't think he got much of the game for West Ham either. I think he was on the bench quite a lot.
Look,
here's the question I have for you. If Chelsea are buying all these players for a transfer ban, and they've got, I mean, their squad depth is what, 80 players now? You know, I'm sitting there looking at it going, okay, they've made £700 million in player sales. Is there anybody they're looking to sell? Is there anybody that we'd even be interested in?
This is the thing. You would think they would be throwing them out the door, but they're not. They just keep adding to it and adding to it. I mean, you've got Madueke, who supposedly is
off to Arsenal.
In talks to Arsenal.
Right. And Jackson.
Wouldn't touch him with a barge pole.
But Chelsea don't seem to. I mean, I think Desarzi went back to Chelsea, didn't he? He was on loan at Villa, and I don't think Villa have got. I could be wrong here, but I different. It's just they took Chalobah back from Palace as well, and Chelsea don't seem to be rushing their players out the door. It's weird. It's
like you say, there could be a ban coming in for them, a 2-year ban.
I think they've got some. the one thing I'll say about Chelsea is, right, nobody can deny they are absolutely brilliant at finding a loophole and exploiting it, right?
Yep.
So if they know they're getting a transfer ban, they'll have planned this. You don't need all them players. They're taking a Kudus and they've just signed Gittins yesterday. How many wingers do you need?
Yeah,
It's
well,
like,
exactly.
it's weird, man. They're just, there's something not right about Chelsea. And I think it'll come out in about Tuesday.
And for me, looking at that group of players, Mo Salah went to, where did he go before he went to Liverpool from Chelsea? Didn't he play in
It was
Germany or something?
it was in Italian league somewhere, I think.
So, but
Roma.
for me, I look at 2 seasons ago when they get awarded a PK and 3 or 4 players bitching about taking that PK. It was an embarrassment. And my problem with the Chelsea squad is I don't think there's a character in there. I think we got the best one, and he just happened to be a childhood team supporter. Everybody else is an arsehole. They're all out looking for number 1. That's my problem with Chelsea right now.
Right, very quickly, guys. Don't forget about Diacro. Baz 20 for 20% off using that code. Link is in the description. Massive shout out to the Geordieland Experience. If you're not from the Northeast and you want to find out what the Northeast is all about, get in touch with these guys and buy an experience and go out and learn the history. It was Roma. I said it about twice.
Yep.
Henderson Taxis, absolutely amazing guys. If you need a taxi in Stanley area, these are the guys to get. They sponsored our charity football match, which is on the 3rd of August. We've got Peter Beardsley playing for our team. Can't wait to do this again. Trying to raise as much money as possible. This is how the day sort of looks. There's free face painting for kids. There's a soft play area for kids, which is free to use. Donation bucket around. There's loads of raffles, tombolas, and all that sort of stuff. And it's all going to Stanley Deaf Club and the Lilly Foundation, which deals in rare diseases. And we have a raffle right now, which is £1 a number. Just contact myself directly. These are the prizes, the pictures. I mean, a full signed squad shirt, a Lewis Miney shirt, a Kevin Keegan, Peter Beardsley, Chris Water signed shirt.
I have one of those crest things.
Yeah, metal coated crest. It's mine. I put it in the raffle.
Hey.
I know. John Carver signed shirt. I mean, everyone remembers he's the best coach in the Premier League to ever exist.
Yeah.
And 3 other random Newcastle tops there that can be won. Just contact myself. £1 a number. The more we sell, the more money that goes to charity. That's the whole idea of it. And that is it from us tonight. We've gone a little bit longer than we should have, but I hope you've all enjoyed the chat. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button. It really helps. And if you're watching this on catch up, drop us a question or a comment and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. Not too sure when the next show is. All depends on if there's any interesting news to talk about. But until then, take care, everyone. Ta-da.
Ta-da, lads.